Nearly 2,000 Iranian targets have been hit. 17 Iranian naval vessels have been destroyed, including the country's most operational submarine. Iran's entire navy has vanished from the Arabian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. America's most powerful stealth bombers are flying unopposed over Iranian territory, and 6 American service members are dead. U.S. Central Command just delivered one of the most significant military briefings in a generation, a comprehensive update on Operation Epic Fury that every American taxpayer, every American family with a loved one in uniform, and every American who cares about this country's security needs to hear in full. Here is everything CENTCOM just told the world. Let's start with the raw numbers because they are staggering. Admiral Brad Cooper, commander of U.S. Central Command, delivered his operational briefing less than 100 hours into the campaign, and the scale he described is unlike anything the United States military has executed in the 21st century. More than 50,000 American troops are now participating in Operation Epic Fury. 2 aircraft carriers are in the fight, including the USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, launching aircraft from the eastern Mediterranean Sea. 200 American fighter jets are engaged in active combat operations. B-2 stealth bombers, B-1B strategic bombers, and B-52 bombers are all conducting strikes. Cooper's message was direct and unambiguous. More capabilities are on the way. This is the largest American military deployment to the Middle East in a generation. The operation began on February 28, 2026, at exactly 1:15 a.m. Eastern Time, 9:45 a.m. Tehran time. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth described the opening moment with precision. More than 100 aircraft launched from land and sea simultaneously. Fighters, tankers, airborne early warning aircraft, electronic attack platforms, strategic bombers flying from the continental United States, and unmanned drones, forming a single synchronized wave that hit Iran at the same time from multiple directions. U.S. Cyber Command and U.S. Space Command simultaneously initiated non-kinetic operations to disable Iran's communications infrastructure before the first physical bomb dropped. Iran never saw it coming with full clarity, and by the time they did, the wave had already arrived.
Here is what American and Israeli forces have actually hit in the first 100 hours of Operation Epic Fury. The numbers are extraordinary, and CENTCOM confirmed each category. Nearly 2,000 Iranian targets struck across the country. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Joint Headquarters, the nerve center of Iran's entire military command structure, destroyed. The IRGC Aerospace Headquarters, the facility from which Iran's ballistic missile program was directed, destroyed. All 4 of Tehran's primary military command centers have been taken out. The Israeli ambassador to the United States confirmed that on Tuesday alone, American and Israeli forces eliminated the 4th and final command center after taking out 3 the day before, creating, in his words, chaos within the ranks of the regime. Iran's air defense capabilities have been systematically dismantled. Most radar stations in western Iran have been eliminated. Missile launchers, both surface-to-surface and surface-to-air, have been destroyed across the country. Missile production facilities and command and control infrastructure have been struck by B-1B Lancers flying directly from Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota, sorties requiring multiple aerial refuelings across the Atlantic and Mediterranean before reaching Iranian airspace. Each B-1B carries a conventional payload of up to 75,000 pounds of munitions. That is 3 fully loaded semi-trucks of bombs per aircraft per mission. Iran's navy has been effectively annihilated. 17 Iranian naval vessels destroyed, including Alvand-class frigates, Muj-class frigates, multiple Kilo-class submarines, multiple Ghadir-class submarines, and Iran's largest naval vessel. the IRINS Macron, a converted oil tanker serving as a forward staging base. Admiral Cooper made one of the most striking statements of the entire briefing when he declared that today there is not a single Iranian ship underway in the Arabian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz, or the Gulf of Oman. A navy that spent decades harassing international shipping, seizing vessels, and threatening oil tankers has been removed from the water entirely in under 100 hours. Task Force Scorpion Strike, a special CENTCOM drone unit, deployed large numbers of one-way attack drones delivering devastating strikes on Iranian military infrastructure. In a remarkable detail that Cooper delivered with obvious satisfaction, many of those drones were originally based on Iranian drone designs that the United States had studied and reverse-engineered. Cooper's exact words were pointed. We took them back to America, made them better, and fired them right back at Iran. Here is the dimension of this briefing that has the most direct implications for American national security. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth stated the nuclear mission in the clearest terms any American official has used. The mission of Operation Epic Fury is laser-focused: destroy Iranian offensive missiles, destroy Iranian missile production, destroy their navy and other security infrastructure, and they will never have nuclear weapons. The Israeli ambassador to the United States added critical context that every American needs to hear. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff met with Iranian representatives, and in that meeting, the Iranians themselves admitted they have 642 kilograms of enriched uranium at 60% enrichment. The ambassador explained the implications directly. To go from 60% to 90% weapons-grade enrichment would take 1 week, and that quantity would give Iran enough material for 11 nuclear bombs. Then all Iran would need to do is pair that uranium with working missile delivery systems. The entire purpose of eliminating Iran's missile command centers, radar stations, and launch facilities is to prevent exactly that pairing from happening. By destroying the delivery systems, the strikes prevented Tehran from completing the final step toward a nuclear-armed Iran. Air Force General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, confirmed at the Pentagon briefing that the combined impact of B-2 Spirit stealth bomber and B-1B Lancer strikes has resulted in the establishment of local air superiority over Iran. American aircraft are now flying unopposed over Iranian territory, a military achievement that has direct consequences for every future strike in the operation.
No honest account of this operation can leave out what it has cost. As of 4 p.m. Eastern on March 2nd, 6 United States service members have been killed in action. CENTCOM confirmed that 2 of those deaths were discovered when American forces recovered the remains of 2 previously unaccounted-for service members from a facility struck during Iran's initial retaliatory attacks in the opening hours of the conflict. The identities of all 6 killed in action were withheld pending notification of their next of kin. 5 additional service members are seriously wounded. President Trump acknowledged on Sunday that there could be more American casualties ahead. The operation is projected to continue for 4 weeks or potentially less, though Iran's leadership has vowed a long war in return. Admiral Cooper was direct about the ongoing threat from Iran. Iran is indiscriminately targeting civilians, Cooper said, describing the evidence as crystal clear and overwhelming. However, Cooper also confirmed that Iran's ability to threaten American forces and partners is declining steadily as their missile infrastructure is being dismantled piece by piece. Even as the military operation continues achieving its stated objectives, a political crisis is deepening inside Iran that could shape everything that follows. Iran's Assembly of Experts, the body responsible for selecting the next supreme leader, elected Ali Khamenei's son, Mujtaba Khamenei, as the new supreme leader under pressure from the Revolutionary Guard. American and Israeli strikes reportedly hit the Assembly of Experts building in Qom and Tehran as that session was underway.
targeting the very meeting where Iran's next leader was being chosen. House Speaker Mike Johnson addressed the Iranian people directly, calling on them to seize what he described as a historic moment of opportunity for freedom. He was equally blunt about one thing America will not do: nation building. "We are not the world's policemen," Johnson said. "America will encourage and support the Iranian people, but the work of building a new Iran belongs to Iranians themselves." President Trump separately ordered the U.S. Development Finance Corporation to provide political risk insurance and guarantees for maritime trade traveling through the Persian Gulf, a direct signal that America intends to restore freedom of navigation and keep the global oil supply moving, regardless of Iran's threats. The CENTCOM briefing paints a picture of a military operation that is, by the metrics of combat effectiveness, performing at an extraordinary level. Nearly 2,000 targets struck, Iran's navy gone from the water, air superiority established, missile command infrastructure destroyed, nuclear delivery systems neutralized, all in under 100 hours. But the full picture also includes 6 American service members dead, a new supreme leader being installed in Tehran under Revolutionary Guard pressure, and a conflict that American leadership admits will continue for weeks. The military mission is proceeding ahead of schedule. The harder question, what kind of Iran emerges on the other side of this, remains completely unanswered. Every American deserves the full truth about what is being done in their name, with their tax dollars, and at the cost of their sons and daughters in uniform. This is that truth.